Some things in space are impossible to save. Once they start to fall, that's usually it. They're gone. We watch from the ground and we let them go, until now. Because right now, a robot is up there, awake, healthy, and getting ready to chase down a dying telescope it was built to catch. A telescope with no handle, no docking port, nothing anywhere on it that was ever built to be grabbed. And the strangest part? The telescope isn't broken. There's nothing wrong with it that a higher orbit wouldn't fix. It isn't failing. The sun is pushing it down. No spacecraft has ever pulled off what this one is about to attempt. It has never done this before. And nobody, not even the engineers who built it, knows for certain that it can. The robot is called Link. The telescope it's been sent to catch is the Neil Gehrels Swift Observatory. If this works, it'll be the first time a private company has ever caught and saved a working NASA satellite in orbit, one that was never designed to be caught. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why a machine designed to survive only a few months might be one of the most important things we've launched in years, and what it has to give up to succeed. Because this was never really about one telescope. It's the first real test of a question we've dodged since the space age began. Can we fix the things we leave up there, or do we just let them fall? First, why bother? What makes Swift worth chasing? Swift launched in 2004, built to last 2 years. Its job is to catch gamma-ray bursts, the brightest explosions in the universe since the Big Bang. In a few seconds, one burst can release more energy than our sun will produce in its entire 10 billion-year life. They flare without warning and fade in moments. Blink, and the story's over. Swift catches about 100 a year, and it can swing around and lock onto one within minutes, while giants like Hubble and Webb need a day or two just to turn. It's NASA's first responder. For 20 years, while we slept, it kept watch. But here's something we rarely think about. Nothing up there really stays put. Everything in low orbit is slowly falling. The space station, Hubble, every satellite you've ever pinged, all of them sinking a little more each year, dragged down by the faint outer edge of our atmosphere. Normally, it's slow, decades slow, almost boring. But Swift isn't falling on that schedule anymore. It's dropping faster. And the reason isn't age, it's the sun. Right now, the sun sits near the peak of its 11-year cycle, and it's been restless. Flares, storms, sheets of radiation. All that energy heats the top of our atmosphere and makes it swell, puffing up and reaching higher than usual. And Swift flies straight through that swollen air. Every orbit, it drags a little harder. Every orbit, Swift drops a little lower, with no engine to climb back, because it never needed one. Left alone, in a few years, it comes down and burns. And the window to catch it, before it sinks too far to reach, is measured in months, not years. So NASA needed someone to catch it, and instead of a billion-dollar mission, they handed it to a startup, Catalyst Space, founded in 2020, based in Flagstaff, Arizona, a company that had never flown a spacecraft in its life. The contract was $30 million to save a $500 million telescope, signed in September 2025, the clock less than a year. Which is either terrifying or exactly the kind of nerve this needed. On July 3, 2026, the rescue finally left the ground, except it didn't start with a rocket. It started with an airplane. Off the coast of the Marshall Islands, a converted jetliner, the last of its kind still flying, climbed to 40,000 feet with a rocket slung under its belly. It let go. The rocket fell for a few seconds, lit its engine, and clawed its way up into orbit. It was the last Pegasus rocket that will ever fly, a machine ending its own story to give another one a chance. There's something quietly fitting about that. And out of it came Link, a robot about the size of a refrigerator, 880 pounds, with 20 feet of solar wings unfolding, and 3 arms, built for one purpose: to grab. But launching was the easy part. Now Link has 4 things to do, in order, and not one of them has ever been done to a telescope before. First, for weeks, it just wakes itself up, testing its thrusters, its sensors, its navigation, one system at a time. Only when it's sure of itself does it start the chase, closing a gap of thousands of miles with almost nothing to spare on fuel if it gets the approach wrong. Because here's the problem: Swift has no docking port, no handle, no grapple fixture. Nothing on it was ever designed to be caught. So Link has to reach past the sensitive instruments and lock its arms onto a bare piece of the telescope's frame, a bracket that was only ever meant to hold Swift steady on a truck back on Earth before launch. And there's a catch inside the catch. The thin insulation wrapping Swift has been baking in sunlight and cold for 2 decades. It may have peeled, shifted, gone brittle. The same thing astronauts once found on Hubble. So Link is reaching for a surface that may not be where the blueprints say it is, and it's too far away for anyone on the ground to steer its hands in time. The signal delay is too long. It has to look, decide where to grip, and close its arms entirely on its own. You only get one attempt. There is no room to read the surface wrong. If the grip holds, Link fires a set of gentle ion thrusters. Not a shove, a whisper. A soft, steady push that will nudge the 2 spacecraft, locked together, slowly upward over 2 to 3 months, lifting Swift about 150 miles, back to where it began. Enough to buy it another 10 years. The same skill that saves a telescope could one day disable someone else's satellite. A rescue tug and a weapon aren't far apart, but that's a fight for another day. Let's stop here for a second. Think about what's riding on this little robot. A telescope that can't move, an atmosphere that keeps swelling, a grip onto a surface no one designed to be gripped, a decision it has to make alone, hundreds of miles up, with no one able to reach out and fix it if it's wrong. The drag pulls, the clock runs, and up there, Link is getting ready to move. So why does a single rescue matter this much? Because for as long as we've flown things into space, we've treated orbit as a place where things go to die. You launch a machine, use it until it fails or falls, and let gravity take it back. Everything up there has been, quietly, disposable. Link is an argument that it doesn't have to be, that we can reach up, take hold of something we thought we'd lost, and give it another decade. That the same trick could one day catch bigger telescopes, maybe even Hubble, when their time runs out too. The sky above us isn't a graveyard, it's a workshop we've barely started using. And here's the part I keep coming back to. When Link finishes, when Swift is finally back in a safe orbit, watching for explosions again, Link lets go. It detaches from the telescope it just saved, drops away, and falls. It burns up in the same atmosphere it just pulled Swift out of. We built a machine to fall, so that another one wouldn't. It was never coming home. It hands an old, blinded telescope 10 more years of sight, and takes its place on the way down. There's something almost human about that. By the time you see this, it may already be decided. As I'm saying this, though, I still don't know. And maybe that matters less than it feels like it should. Because whichever way it goes up there, whether the robot holds on or it doesn't, something has already changed. For the first time, when something we built began slipping out of the sky, we didn't just watch it go. We reached up. We'll follow Link all the way in. Subscribe if you want to be here when we find out whether it holds. There is more to explore. See you beyond the stars.